All right, people. Here we are. It is another great episode of the film review.
Right.
Movies, music, culture, and whatever else comes to mind. We are the hosts I'm Crazy Dee.
Tracey.
And we are the hosts that review culture in movies, music, politics, and society. So today, we just came from seeing the movie The Hate U Give, which is based on a theory or a concept that Tupac Shakur developed in the 90s, where the hate you give, what's the rest?
The movie with The Hate U Give, which is based on
Tupac Shakur's
right.
slogan, and the hate you give infants. The hate.
Well, first, before you do that, talk about the movie a little.
Well, I wanted to give what the meaning of it was. I need to catch that real quick before we go any further. I need that. So the hate you give, because I always knew the hate you give leads infants to F everybody. That's what it means. It will fuck up everybody.
The hate you give little infants fuck everybody.
That's right. That's what it means. Okay? So, in other words, what you are instilling into the infants, through how society views black people in particular, leads to, in the end, it destroying the society through the people who you try to destroy. That's what basically the meaning of the film is. The film
The Hate You Gave, The Hate You Give is an excellent film, and it circles around that, to the acronym Thug Life that Tupac talked about.
Right.
Because in the film, it's mentioned a few times, and then, matter of fact, I'm not going to give the film, but there's a scene in the film that mirrors.
Right. It's a metaphor. Film is a metaphor for what it is, for what the meaning of the film is. But let's start. Now you've seen
the stars of the film. We gotta.
Okay. Start with the stars of the film.
Amandla Steinberg is the star of the film.
Okay.
Her character is Star. Mm-hmm. She does an excellent job. It was an outstanding cast, but her father stood out a lot. Mm-hmm. Her father was played by Russell Hornsby, and he played the character Maverick Carter. Mm-hmm. So although it was a strong cast, along with Regina Hall, Issa Rae, Anthony Mack, and Algie Smith, the relationship between Star and her father really, really, really drove the film. That's right.
Because the father, from the very beginning, even when she was just a young girl, always told her the truth. They told the family, all the family, the truth about who they were, how they got together, his past. So it was never a secret that someday somebody would discover. They were always straightforward with their children. So let's start. So you've seen this in the trailer, so there's no spoiler here.
Right.
It's about the character named Star.
Right.
She's a person who, like many black people, live a dual life. There's the life from where you come from, and then the life that you're trying to achieve, which is often, unfortunately for us, a life that has to deal with getting over to the other side of the track, so to speak, to where there is riches and better living, and usually it has to do in an upper class white community, not necessarily class there, but that's what you would call it by society structure. And so that's what this is the duality that she has in the film, which is very poignant because, breaking away from the film for a little bit, there's a thing now called intersectional racial things, where there are a group of black people now that are considering themselves to be white now. And if you've seen the episode of Dr. Oz, there's a young lady who says she's white, and she talks about how the black, when she moved from where she moved from as a little girl and moved into a predominantly black neighborhood from the predominantly white neighborhood that she lived in, how the people are ugly and how they're fads, etc., etc., etc. And we know that that's definitely not the truth of what's going on, because if you go into white communities that are under financed, you will find the same pathologies within those neighborhoods. But people who are not conscious and are not aware of what is actually going on, they believe that somehow being white is better. So that interracial not interracial love, but it's intersectionality and all this race thing. I forget, transracial. That's the word that I'm trying to get to. So this particular person is not a person that prescribes herself to be transracial. The transracial has nothing to do with interracial or mixed children. It's just people who believe that they're transracial, that their melanin in their skin doesn't represent who they are actually on the inside. They believe themselves to be white, but we'll leave that alone. So the story is very poignant in that aspect, because this young lady in this character is not trying to be white. She is trying to use what is afforded to the whites to better her life, from where she comes from. So that's a little bit different about this film. So she's a young lady, a young girl, and I guess she's a junior in high school, you would say, because her older brother is a senior. And they tell you in the trailer about the duality of what's going on in her life. So she goes through them, but then you're introduced to her boyfriend on the other side of the tracks, and then you're
played by KJ8.
Okay, right. And then you are then introduced to her first love, her first crush, which who is played by?
That's played by Algie Smith.
That's right. And so you see the duality of what's going on in the different parties and things. And what I like about the dialogue, the way it was written, which comes from off of a book. The book was written by a black woman, but the screenplay was written by a woman who just recently passed. But the dialogue, which she picked up from out of the book, talks about, they show you in the film the other side where they're drinking at the black party, but within the conversation they talk about how the white kids are taking Molly and all of these other things, and the girl Star cannot deny that fact of being true.
The author of the book is Angie Thomas.
Angie Thomas, that's right. And so you can't deny that that's happening. But then, as you see in the previews, there's an initiating event that kicks the whole story off, and that is the murder of her first crush. And then the movie kicks off from there. So we're not going to tell you about the plot of the movie, because you have to go see the movie. If you do not need a handkerchief in this movie or a napkin in this movie from the very beginning, something is wrong. Let me tell you, the acting in this, the young lady pulls this off. It is her acting, and then the father's acting, and then the mother's acting.
Yeah.
That pulls out, and then the brother
Regina
comes
Hall.
in. That's right.
Yeah, the brother who's played by Lamar Johnson, whose character is Seven Carter. I love the relationship with him and Star as well.
And so everything builds up, but the young lady who plays the role of Star, her acting, everyone's acting in there, you have to say that it's on the top level. These are masters that you are seeing playing already. I can say that the established actors, most definitely, and actors, the new actors that are coming up, excellent acting. Even the little brother.
Yeah, the little brother.
Yeah, excellent actor. It's a pivotal scene with him. Closer to the conclusion of the film. So we're not going to give you any more of the story because you need to go see this film. This film is a classic.
It is. And what I like about the film is it's about a family, and the family itself along with the community, which is also part of this family. And it's really, really worth seeing. The previews for this film are pretty good, but once you're in the theater and you actually see this film, like, this is a really good film. This is way better than the trailers.
Way better.
Way better than the trailer. You know?
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's really worth seeing. I feel that it'd be nice if, like, a group of children, were all taken to see this film the way they were all taken to see, like, Panther, because there's something to learn. I think that the children can learn a lot in this film. For those children who don't have, like, a mom and father who takes the time to sit down and talk to them about safety when they have to interact with the law, the officers, what to expect,
the talk.
And the talk is definitely given in this film by the father,
But you see the breakdown in the film when the family structure is not it's not there, where there's a father and a mother, especially the father who is drilling down into the children about what to do and what not to do when encountering police officers. It doesn't matter if they're black or white or black, Asian, Hispanic, Arab, whatever. When you are a black person, how to interact, because most of the time the officer, no matter what race they are, will follow the thin blue line. So we will say that. So it doesn't matter who you're dealing with, this is what's happening. Now, the politics of the film, a lot of politics in it, but let's go to the external politics. When I found out that a white woman had written the script, I was like, why is it that they believe in Hollywood that a white woman can write the screenplay and tell the story better than a black person who has those experiences? Like, when you watch a Spike Lee film, he goes into the nooks and crannies of what it is to be existing in America as a black male or black female, black man or black woman, black child, or whatever. He can drill down into that and bring that. So I was like, well, why? How is it that they feel that they can tell our story, but we can't then go and write something and tell their story when we are subject to everything that is foul, good or bad, foul about the European Americans. So how they couldn't, but once I was so at ease once I found out that it was an adaptation from a book that a black woman had written. So the nooks and crannies are already there. And though this woman did not experience or has not experienced our condition, she still was able to delve deep into what the woman wrote in the book.
Right, the black.
And so that right there, okay, I give that a pass. So I was concerned about that, and I was like, well, how are they going to do it? But then the director,
right,
Tillman Jr.
Yeah, George Tillman Jr.
That's right.
Yeah.
He brings out in the actors,
right,
those nuances,
right,
that make sure that it's not on the nose and that
right,
it's expressing what it needs to express. So even though a white woman wrote the script,
right,
the director bringing it home, and obviously he read the book.
right.
I'm sure in interviews he said that. And so he brings out that, plus he has a certain living, he's experienced certain things. So we'll say that. So that's the politics of the film. And within the film is the politics. Now, one of the things that I did not like about the film is, and in many films, and this might be because of the Hollywood system and where we're living in America, there is no counterpoint or no just due brought to the police officer who basically murders this young man. You know, he didn't say, what are you doing? Pull the gun out and say, pull your hands out away from the car, put your hands up. He didn't do that. He automatically, when he thought he saw something in his hand, he automatically thought it was a weapon, and he shot him down. The film doesn't really go into or delve into the emotional psychosis of white people, European Americans, who are working in the black community as police officers, because obviously they didn't have necessarily the brain power necessarily. Now there are some that are educated who they didn't have the brain power to go to college, okay? Or if they come back, or if they're in college and then they come back from college and then they're mostly on an upper level, come to find out. But let's say they went off to war. So you go off to a war-torn country that basically America tore up in the first place, and then you expect the people to stand down and follow your commands, but it's their country. But then you come back to America, then you get a job as a police officer, and you go in to the black community and you treat them like you treat people who is their country, but you consider them enemy combatants instead of treating them like human beings. And thus, and so here's the problem. So they never go into the psychosis. If you are afraid of a group of people, do not get a job where you have to police those people. Why would you? You know what I mean? Go and be in your neighborhood. So that's a problem with the film, that the psychosis of European Americans are not discussed, that they are automatically in fear. You know, the police officer's situation was not discussed, other than there were characters who voiced what his concern would be, but not the psychosis of it.
So was that real? That was realistic, right?
No, it's realistic to say that there was no, because most of the police officers are getting off from what they do.
Right.
You had to see a video where the guy was running in North Carolina and got shot in the back before that guy actually wound up going to prison. And even then, it's a slap on the wrist. It should be life, but these are years that are given that the person can get out and have more life to live afterwards. So that's a problem with the film. Also, as the story goes on, we're supposed to just forgive. And this guy goes on, and we're supposed to just forgive. That's what we're supposed to do. And that's the story that's put forth in the film, that you just sit up and you just forgive. And that's a problem with the film. Also, I would want them to have written into the script that maybe 6 months later he died in a shootout or something. You know, some kind of turnaround. You know what I'm saying? You do a sin, then you have to pay for the sin. And in these films that are that come from out of the Hollywood studios, the white person that does the sin, who is a police officer, a European American police officer, does not get the retribution. It does not see a just outcome, a justified outcome for the sin that they do.
Right.
And so that's the problem. That's the problem with the film too. And I don't think, and that's probably one of the problems why the European American woman could not write that piece. So that's a problem with the film.
Well, other than that,
I mean, yeah, the film is good. It's entertaining. Like I said, you need a handkerchief, and you need that. But I'm just tired of the films where we take the loss and there's no answer or just response to it. I mean, there's people who did things during the early civil rights era, like Emmett Till. The woman's still walking around.
right.
No just due, but yet
Well, whose fault is that?
that's ours for not pushing forward, not
Right. So,
pushing a point to get that push forward.
right.
So other than that, the acting is superb. Don't expect any get back, because it's not a get back film. It's just one of those films where it tells it the way it is right now. And so, what would you rate the film?
I would give the film an 8 because it's a good film. It's better than I thought it would be. Seeing the film and then learning that the author was a black woman who wrote the book, she did a really good job. And as far as the screenwriter goes, the white woman who wrote it, who's no longer with us, she did
As well
pretty
as
good.
she
She
could.
did as well as she could. There were certain areas that I'm like, okay, no, black person wouldn't have wrote this. Like, this doesn't make any sense. But overall, it was a good film. To me, it was realistic. The cop getting off, of course. As far as the psychosis of why they do what they do, they've just been doing what they've been doing for years, just for the hell of it. They're,
I guess the just due for them is that they're 8% of the global population,
Right.
and there is a disease going around that is killing
racism
them.
is a mental illness.
No, it's a mental illness, but there's a disease going around
Right.
that is killing them off,
Right.
because they're going off into their own
Right.
little racist enclaves, and there's a disease that is killing them off because they're, for some reason, when they get together in clusters and in
You're
those
talking about
communities,
the disease you saw on the news.
right?
Right.
Yeah, they did a story on that.
Right.
On it was like a 2020 special, something like that, investigative reporting. And there's a disease that's going around that is wiping them out, and their population is starting to dwindle because for some reason, when they all get together in enclaves where there are no other groups of people, they're killing each other off. Just through disease.
Right.
So I mean, maybe that is the universe or the cosmos, God, whatever you want to call that supreme being that is, because we're not going to raise our hands to give any retribution. The cosmos, the universe, is automatically dwindling them down in population. They're only 8% of the population, and no matter what happens, if there's no more interracial marriage, none of that, their population is still going to dwindle down. And this is what all of this racism is really about. I will give the film a 7 for just what I said. Like, there should be something written into these scripts. I know it's in Hollywood, but it needs to be something written in the scripts where the people who are doing the injustice towards black people, something automatically happens, like in real life, because of the universe and the cosmos. These people are dying off. Okay, if something is bypassing black people altogether, and they're killing us off. They're trying to kill us off with drugs. They're trying to kill us off with all kinds of things, syphilis, all the different experiments that they did. But for some reason, they're not being experimented on, but something is killing them off. So that's karma. That's what it is, ultimately. So I will give it a 7 for that reason. But definitely go see the film, because the actors and the directing of the actors bring this film to definitely reality. Okay, so let's talk about what happened over the weekend. Of course, we came from shooting Nena Ross's Ghetto Folks video, and we have some last nooks and cranny film to get, but basically the video is basically complete, and we just have something to represent what the film is about. We got some last minute things to get on that, but other than that, we had a long arduous road ever since early spring and getting it done, because people said that they would come through, didn't come through, we had to postpone, do all that, but in the end we came together, and then in the end we had the right scenes, the right footage, everything came together, and we also went over to the power shoot over there that Eddie Bell and Shantae Gibson were holding, and she was able to rap there, and the people loved the song. The DJ, which you will see on some of the outtakes that you don't see on the live video that we did, he started chopping up her song with the crossfader at the event. The DJs from Rush Radio, I believe that's what it is called, he started chopping it up, and I mean everybody in there was just grooving to Ghetto Folks.
I like how the DJ took the initiative to
download
just on his own and just start mixing it and blending it on his own, just because he liked it.
That's right, because it's a catchy tune and it's a hit, and Crazy Dee hears hits. And that's why all the people that I worked with, all the people that I select for BlackBook Hip Hop.
Speaking of that Thursday, you have to
I'm gonna talk about that. All of the BlackBook Hip Hop people that I choose, I hear hits, and I see that they're out there on the grind and not asking. They don't have their hands out asking people for something, because actually black people have never had their hands out to ask. We always go out there and grind and get it. But these people actually go out there, grind and get it, make sure they get their performances, they get their music, they have it pressed up. So the people like Wolf Dotson, Icy Jones, T Jones, and of course Nena Ross, they're out there grinding, and saying hits cannot be denied. The only way hits can be denied if people purposefully try to ignore hits. And when it's a hit record, it's a hit record, and people are woefully evil. I'm gonna say it, woefully evil not to recognize hits and give independent artists a chance to thrive and grow, in a sense, when we need to be working with each other to make it so. So that is sinful, and that is evil, and that is what it is for those who do not give independent artists a chance. And it's a hit, but for some reason you're jaded and you want to be the person that's in power and be over them and say, I'm gonna let this person in and not let this person in, like a gatekeeper. Me, if it's a hit, it's going on BlackBook Hip Hop, period. It sounds good. As a matter of fact, I let the people decide. Most of the time when I hear something, I say, oh yeah, this is good, let's put this up here. It goes across and people love it. So BlackBook Hip Hop playing on YouTube, Vimeo, and of course BlackBook LV.TV is playing on there. And so that's what we do. So we don't play games. We're about the independent, about making hits. Now, speaking of independence, Thursday we had the BlackBook launch party over at TC's barbecue crib, and 3655 South Durango. I got that in my head. I'm rattling that off. And the artists came. I had the sound system for them with the cordless mics. Listen, people, I've been rocking on Shure mics. These are the same mics that the Grammys use, and most of the award show use are Shure mics, right? The Shure mic is a quality mic. It's gonna make the voice boom, and that's what we use. We don't use no cheap stuff around here. So the sound system was there, the mics are there, so there was no feedback, none of that. The artists could cross past the speaker and no feedback, and they were out there in the parking lot, you know what I'm saying? And they were putting down hits, and we have that, and that's gonna be turned into a short, well, not a short, it's going to be about 40 minutes documentary about what's happening. I have all the pieces assembled, and we're going to go and show from different angles, from different people's cameras. That's what we wanted. We wanted all the people to come out and let's work together. Same thing that happened over there during the power shoot. Different people came out, and we're going to be able to tell that story of Nena Ross from different vantage points, even before the video comes out, because I'm a filmmaker by trade, but I can do everything. I could even do porn, but we don't do that. So, you know, I'm a filmmaker and an editor by trade. That's what I do. And so angles and all that, being a cinematographer and the camera guy and knowing angles, that's what I do. I produce quality. So that's what we do. So over there, they showed up and showed out, and I consider them the Mount Rushmore of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Those four artists: Wolf Dotson, Nena Ross, Icy Jones, and T Jones. And when you hear them, they can get on the mic and they can move the crowd. That's what an MC is supposed to do. That's what hip hop is, making something from nothing, and that's what we do. We make something for nothing to be about independent growth, not independent apart, but independent together to make it stronger. And that's what we do.
Came through.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Shout out to Miss Diva, because she saw the ad and she told me when she got out the car, you knew I was gonna come, right? We have her stand up out on Vimeo, on YouTube, on iTunes, Apple Music, Tidal. You know what I'm saying? We shot it in June. It came out August 1st. And so it's on all those formats, visual and audio. So you can pick your best songs, your best selections out that you love, and just be laughing your butt off, because Miss Diva is hilarious. Diva's comedy. And that's what we do. So we're going to be working with more people, because, you know, it's about leaving legacy behind. And, you know, I have the lights, camera, action, and I write the action. And that's why we have the test read auditions coming up for TBIC. That's the Black Ice Chronicles, A Preacher's Life and Life of a Producer. So get your headshots in at Lordland Enterprises, put the S on Enterprise, at hotmail.com, so that we can, you know, get you, write you something. If you can interpret my lines, I will write something especially for you. We talked about that at the behind the scenes of the Black Las Vegas Food Fest, you know, and Block Party. We talked about that behind the scenes. Now, this has been robust, but I would have to say that as independents, the more people that are filming you and have you out there, the better. Some people, like we ran into that today when we went to a record store. We ran into that some people are still living under the old model of promotion and marketing. So they don't believe in having, you know, people other than themselves. But let me tell you something, if it is not filmed today, if it's not streamed today, it did not happen.
Go to Tidal.
That's right.
Go to Tidal.
That's right. So if it didn't film, if it didn't stream, it did not happen, which means that you have lost at least 100,000 potential new fans that will be global. The event that we went to today to possibly talk to the artist, Afro Vegas had picked it up. You know, Afro Vegas had picked it up, which meant that was a whole new fan base that was coming. It was getting ready to go viral, but I locked it because even though I straightened the management, you know what I mean, using diplomacy to straighten the management and leave them confused. I saw it in their eyes. I just locked it because, you know, you need to know and recognize and have respect for the new model of marketing and promotion, period.
Well, my issue is if you are a white manager and you're pushing R&B and hip hop music out of your store, but yet you have this rude, to me, racist mentality, but yet what's bringing the sales to your business is off of black artists.
That's right.
But yet you're rude to the people who are in the store. Now, me personally, I'm a title person. So Jay-Z, Beyonce, and as well as the other artists who own title. Like, wouldn't even have went into this particular store we went in today had it not been for this artist that we went to see. So clearly, I don't shop, with them. I listen and try to do business with my people. Speaking of, like we said, Sharon and her husband's restaurant. Thursday, TC's rib spot. So, but we just happened to have to go into this one particular spot, and of course we set the person straight.
That's right. Through diplomacy. But
personally, I'm a title person.
That's right. Like, because you see, this is how racism and white supremacy works. The person the person at the front says, go talk to this person. I go talk to that person. That person says, talk to the person that's with the artist. I go talk to the person that's with the artist, and then the person with the artist says, okay, hold up for a minute. I go over there, but then all of a sudden when the road manager comes up, all of a sudden the person who told me to go talk to the guy over there all of a sudden says, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. But you knew what's going on because we had conversation, right? And so that's how racism works, and that's how how black people can get killed, maimed, murdered, boogered up, because there's somebody that's there that is acting like a European American instead of acting like a human being. They're acting like a chimpanzee.
What's the difference between human beings and mankind?
That's right. There's mankind is more that comes from a line of chimpanzees, and then there's human beings who have hue. And so that's where racism plays. So, but me being a diplomat, I didn't play into that. You have to know what you're dealing with when you're dealing with Shaitan and the devil. You have to know what you're dealing with. So that's why we were able to come out, and in the end it was all smoothed out, because you know what you're dealing with, because I'm there to build with the artist,
right? Because
we have the same skin tone, right, and we have the same experiences, right. And so his team should not be, but the team, the security and all that, they were cool. They were calling me brother. And then dude in the end was confused, but I locked it anyway, because, although Afro Vegas would have picked it up and it would have went viral, I just nexted it for that reason, because if you don't understand the new model, that it doesn't matter who's filming. If everybody is filming, it's not like it's your concert. It's a meet and greet, where then more fans will come, because Tech 9 was cool. He looked over at me, we smiled, we spoke to each other, because so he was cool. But then there's people in between, management, and they're living under the old model. And then when you get someone in there that's management to a business who is playing the two-sided coin, here, talk to him, but then say, I don't know what was going on. That's racism, people. That's white supremacy. That's less than human thought process, trying to get human beings mangled or murdered. And we don't play that this way. You know what I mean? Because I have my wife with me.
Hi, Shantae. We had a good time Thursday.
Yeah, we did. Everyone knows,
yesterday.
That's right. We're getting the days, because we were moving all weekend. Yeah. And, so anybody knows that us, just like Eddie and Shantae, cool people, right? So it's no need to be in the end. Right. It wasn't a huff and puff, because actually there was another European American in there just before I spoke to. What I found out now wasn't the manager, but was security. Right. he had words because he wanted Tech 9 to sign 9 pieces. Now, you know, for anybody who doesn't know, getting an autograph from an artist, not personalized to you, but an autograph on a classic album or something, automatically makes that album worth at least, I say, $1,000 to $5,000 off the rip.
Now, who is this you were talking about again? I never heard of.
Who?
Who were you talking about?
What? Who?
The artist today, or you were talking about?
Oh no, I'm not gonna mention any names because I locked it.
Never heard of.
I locked up. I know my wife wouldn't have it, but he's an underground king as far as getting his stuff up, and that was the question I wanted to ask him about how he built his blueprint, because he wasn't getting radio play, but he is smashing and selling out concerts not only in America but around the globe, and his merchandise sales.
Okay,
so I wanted to move in to give the independent artist something, and it was going to just be one strong question, because I don't do fluff, I do intelligent questions.
But some people don't believe in working with black media.
Yeah, but I don't know what the artist thought. I'm just going by what the management was. I totally in agreement with what you're saying. I'm in total agreement with what you're saying. But what I'm saying
they weren't from around here. Was the artist you said was from Kansas City?
Yeah, Kansas City, Missouri. And that's, you know, a lot of people come from out of Kansas City, Missouri.
So some people don't have love like the artists around here.
Count Basie came from out of Kansas City, and then Eddie Griffin came from out of Kansas City, and Eddie Griffin is a cool person.
But see, Eddie Griffin is he knows. I mean, he's a black man. Not everybody that has.
Well, I'm not gonna question. But because I don't know, because I didn't get a chance to conversate.
But I'm just happy that yesterday we had a good time.
Yeah.
At 702 styling.
Yeah, no, it was 702 urban clothing.
And we had a great time.
702 unique clothing.
Right.
You know, so we had a great time there, and we met with people. So all I can say is they just missed out on that going viral and getting 100,000 more fans that may not be hip to the music. You know what I'm saying? Become hip to the music. And that's what we did all weekend by having people come out and film different angles. And that is the new model, people. That is the new model. And that's why we love Shantae and Eddie Bell and everybody that we work with, because they understand the model and get it out there to the masses so they can go then search you out and buy your record. And so, you know, we move forward into the 20s. None of us will be here for the 22nd century, but we have to move like we're in the 22nd century. So that's where we will leave that. So we had to discuss that, and unfortunately it is locked now. I still have it, but it is locked. And so, you know, if people don't know how to act towards people who are just trying to expose them, because, you know, it's not me trying to build my brand, it's me expanding people's brands. That's what it's all about. So everybody should be willing to work together, and so that's what it is. So unfortunately it's locked now. Like last time for this, the Afro Vegas took it, which would have spread it across, and then people would have probably come in and bought his album, you know, or went places.
Basically, from the actions of the manager and the team, they don't do that, but you know what I'm saying, but because they're under the old model. However, that's besides the point. We will see what happens with that in the future, but right now it's just disappointing because people should be on the new model. This is 2018 going into 2019. This isn't 1998. Well, I hadn't heard of them.
Right. See, that's what it is. So when people get bad taste in their mouth, that makes them lose, because afterwards I was just going to go buy the album on the strength. It would have helped, and not ask for an autograph, because I'm not looking to...
he's saying album because this is like a really, really old artist.
Well, okay, see how bad taste can get in people's mouth? So I was going to go buy the CD. That's still old school. But anyway, CD, and I wasn't going to give...
Is this guy one of the ones that used to put the stuff on his face, or...
Oh yeah, he was down with the insane.
Oh, okay.
Right. So, but
see, back then I was listening. How many years ago was that? I was listening to
in
like
the late 90s.
Like, was that like Scarface? And
that was Scarface, 8 Ball, MJG, UGK.
It was Jay-Z.
Yeah, Jay-Z was around then and all that.
So
yeah,
I
right.
was not listening to this guy anyway.
Right.
So.
See, you see how that could be. So I was just gonna buy the CD on the strength, and so that would have helped the store, and that would have helped the artist with SoundScan sales.
Right.
You know what I mean? To hit Billboard to say that this record sold, but and then it legitimately sold in hard copy, not just whatever, not just
Too Short.
Downloads, not just
Listening
downloads.
To Too Short.
Yeah, Too Short. Yeah, on all the people,
So.
everybody. You see how that is, people. You see how that is.
So the manager being racist today, or the people,
the owner,
whoever,
our opinion
doesn't
being
matter,
racist. It doesn't matter because that made them lose. And we still win, because I let that shit slide off my back because people don't really understand.
Right.
But, and they don't want to understand. And that's why they're 8% of the global population. And moving after they finish doing their work, like Cleveland, they drive an hour and 45 minutes out to be in their enclaves with the meth and all the other stuff.
One black person in the store.
Yeah, so there was a couple in line. It was a few in line. I say it was a sprinkle like pepper.
But I think they prefer dealing with only.
I can't say, but from the perspective,
right.
I totally look at her perspective because she gives me the eyes
I don't think
that I don't
they like
see why I'm
dealing
doing
with
what I'm
black
doing.
media, from what I saw.
That is something. That is an indictment on a black artist for sure. So. But I stay with, it's just the chimpanzees of this planet acting crazy like they do against human beings. It's unfortunate. So, in closing, the game has been out there for a while. The game has even been sold. But in some aspects, we have to, like this movie, you go get the ticket so that you bought the ticket so the game is sold to you, but also sometimes the game has to be told to the youth so they know what time it is, and that's what we're about.
Yeah, so the hate you give is definitely worth
it. And one last point, and I will close on this, and we won't have any necessary rebuttal with it. Anytime you go to a place and they're dealing with black people and you cannot use the bathroom, that, ladies and gentlemen, is a problem, and that's where we will leave that. People who know what I'm talking about, and that's where we're gonna leave that. This isn't Jim Crow, okay? So that's where we're gonna leave this, even though they wanted to be Jim Crow again, but and so go out and read and find out what Jim Crow was really about, and and learn what these other things are about, and about the fear of no longer being on the planet. That's what racism and white supremacy is all about, trying to eliminate the dark-skinned people, the people with melanin, because they are in fear that they won't see themselves anymore. But that's automatically happening through the universe, cosmos, or whatever. So this is what's happening. So when those type of things happen, I let that roll off the back, but I make sure that we get them straight, like I had to do with the guy that was coming up talking about private property where we were thing. And when I got him on tape, then he says, this was at the Black Food Festival. He says, this is private property. And I said, well, I'm filming you now. He said, well, let me explain. Then his tone changed. We don't play, people. We don't play, because so many people were parking over there that by 4 o'clock, he would have had to tow a lot of cars, people. So we set him straight, and he said, well, it's good that you tape because it makes people come nicer with the only niggers on the planet. Maybe you should become nicer to human beings, the ones that you call when you are really is called projection. You actually project it onto us, which is what is really in you. Maybe you should come nicer from the beginning and not worry, because anybody with common sense realizes that there has to be a balance, and that white folks, though low in population, will never go away because there has to be a balance. Common sense. And that's what all this racism and bigotry and prejudice and all this is about, to try to starve us out, to eliminate us. And that's messed up. So maybe if you came nicer, we wouldn't need to film you. But he got told, and it was straight, and we got everything done. And forget them trying to take away your joy. Forget that. Just laugh at them, get them straight, get them up off of you,
and keep it moving.
And keep it moving, because their population is dwindling.
Like when you were doing a video yesterday, and the guy during Nena Ross's video, he just shows up. He had nothing at the food festival. It's another incident. So it's been like,
yeah, just
white people about to back to back acting up.
That's right. So as long as they keep acting the way they acting, you know, that's why the universe and the galaxy, or God, or higher being, whatever you want to call them, are eliminating them off the planet. We don't have to do anything. So that's what we're going to leave at today. This is real serious, because like I said, we talk this right here. We are the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy Dee.
I'm Tracey.
And this is the film review. We review movies, music, culture, and whatever else comes to mind. We review culture and music, movies, society, and politics.
And definitely, and just have to throw this in. We had to speak on it, because it's just been a pattern of, just like you've seen all over social media with the barbecue Becky and then the woman accusing a little boy whose book bag touched her in New York, and then other incidents, the little child trying to sell lemonade. Like, we just had an example of that, like, throughout the weekend, where black people were just minding their own business, taking care of business.
You know what?
And then here comes an idiot, a racist person interjecting themselves
into the good time,
and it has nothing to do with them. So it's just been like a pattern.
You know what? I never
crazy.
thought of that encounter, like the barbecue Becky, or whatever their name is.
Right.
But all I can say is,
but the issue is, I'm not a passive person.
Right.
So, and we didn't even go into Walgreens. What happened in there?
Yeah. I mean,
The
it's
racism had to set her straight, kindly, professionally, because I am a professional.
Right.
But you know, it's just crazy.
So listen, I never thought of that incident like that, but you know what? It was, and you know, I don't call them any kind of pet names. I just call them the way that they act, and they're acting like a small-brained chimpanzee, a ape, a monkey. You know, that's how they're acting, because of smash. I got to smash. That's what the movie is about police officers automatically wanting to shoot instead of treating people the way that they would want to be treated. But they don't know that, because they've been programmed to smash, be monkeys. And that's what monkeys and apes do. They go around in packs and smash and take over things. And when you study the history, that's their history, people. But that's what we will leave that. So I don't call them pet names. I just say, there you are, acting like a chimp again. A monkey, small brain monkey. Little brain monkeys. Okay, so anyway, that's the way it is. Does that sound racist, or does that just fighting fire with fire? Because you know, when the fires happen in California, they have to use fire to burn, to move the fire away, so it won't burn more forest. They start fire to move it away. So it's fire meets fire.
I don't think it's racist. I just think it's talking about incidents that happen and just speaking truth. Events that happen,
and it's not even about, it's not even speaking truth to power, because their time is actually up, and we're just sitting here dormant. We not only have the #1 music, hip-hop, going across the globe, our style, our dress, all the music that we had before, jazz, gospel, blues, rock and roll, which was actually rhythm and blues before it turned into the rhythm and blues that we hear today, which they call R&B. All of that is our culture that's going across the globe. So automatically we are automatic running. We just choose to relax. And so because we've chosen to relax last time, the universe, the cosmos, is taking care of the problem on the planet. The ones that build on sand. Now, if you read your Bible, in Leviticus, which is the law, it tells you don't build on sand. And the reason why you don't build on sand or in the water, it tells you right there in the Bible, and that's what has been happening. They tell you don't build on mountain cliffs, because one day the earth, the cosmos, the universe, whatever you want to call it, will take back its mountainous bluffs. What is theirs will come back and be taken back. And so that's why if you read your Bible, and besides Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but you go into the Old Testament and read the law, it tells you all that. And guess who wrote all that, people? Guess what civilizations wrote that? Because they knew. And so when you do the research, you find that out. So this is what we're talking about. So the people who are destroying the planet, making it heat up, making the waters rise, which means the coastal areas. And that's what I want to tell people. Quit trying to be around them in those nice, luscious places that are by the coastal areas, because the water is coming to take that. So be inland, and don't let them push you out there. Don't let them sell you nothing that's built on a bluff, a mountain bluff, because that house is going to fall. And if they're selling it to you, it's about to fall. So don't fall for any of that, people. We're just telling you that. And move in away from the coastal, because the water, because of what they're doing with the global warming, with the climate change, the water is rising and it's going to take it over. And so that's where we will leave that right now. Boy, this got real deep. Yeah. And then if you don't believe anything that I said, I put it on myself that I said, just go Google that. Just go Google that. Just open your Bible and read Leviticus, and then you will see this, and you will say, it's true. But people just don't read. They read their Bibles for somewhat the wrong reasons. You need to read it because it's an instruction guide on how to. The Quran, the same thing. It's an instruction guide to how to live and what to do to make your life prosperous while you're here, and not toil on the land while you're here. So that's what we're gonna leave that right now. We thank you for listening. Again, this is the film review, and we're out until next time.